Nobody tells you this part. Nobody tells you that sometimes the bravest thing that you will ever do is stop fighting for what you love. Nobody tells you that. Nobody tells you that holding on could become a form of self-harm. Nobody tells you that you can pray yourself into exhaustion trying to save something that God never asked you to carry. Nobody tells you that. So let me say it the way that it actually feels. Let them leave. Let them go. Move on. Not because you don't love them. It's not because of that. Not because you didn't try. Not because it didn't matter, right? But because you are tired of bleeding quietly while calling it loyalty. You're tired of it, and I know that. Some of you aren't heartbroken because they left. Let's be real. You're heartbroken because you stayed after they were already gone. You stayed when the conversations got thinner. You stayed when the affection became scheduled. You stayed when the effort felt borrowed. You know what I'm saying? You stayed when God was whispering, release this, and your fear kept yelling, wait, God. And now you're asking God to heal something that you keep reopening. You asking, and I know that because I was. But here's the part that nobody really wants to admit. You are not scared of losing them despite of what you think. You're scared of who you'll be without the pain. Why? Because the pain became familiar. Pain became routine. Pain became proof that what you felt was actually real. So guess what? You keep choosing the wound over the unknown. And it's slowly killing you. And let me break your heart a little bit deeper. Watch this. If they were meant to stay, it would not require you to shrink. It would not require you to over-explain. It would not require you to over-forgive. It would not require you to abandon your peace. Love does not require you to disappear, my friend. You don't miss them. You miss the version of yourself that believed that this would work. That's what you miss. You miss the future that you rehearsed in your head. You miss the relief of thinking, at least I'm not alone. At least I'm not alone, right? But you were alone. You were alone. You were alone next to someone. You were alone while trying to convince yourself that this was enough. You were alone while God watched you negotiate your worth. And it's sad. And you know, I know that letting go feels like a funeral, right? It feels like a funeral with no body, no closure, no explanation that makes sense, no final sentence that lands clean. You know what I'm saying? Just silence. Just silence. And that silence is where people break. That silence is where people crawl back. That silence is where people text, where people unblock, where people revisit, where people relapse, right? Right there in that silence. Why? Because silence forces you to sit with the truth, and the truth hurts. It's painful. The truth is brutal. And here's the truth. You can't move forward while clutching something that already chose to leave. You can't move forward like that. Some of you keep saying, God, if this is meant to be, bring them back. But you never ask God, if this is killing me, give me the strength to let it die. How come you don't ask that? How come you don't ask that? So here's the unpretty prayer. The prayer that nobody posts. The prayer that is said through the strain, right? Through clenched teeth. God, I don't want to let this go, God. I don't know who I am without this attachment. I don't trust myself to survive this emptiness, God. But I trust you more than my fear. So if this is not for me, remove my appetite for it. If this is not love, numb my craving. If this is not my future, disconnect me from the fantasy, God. Disconnect me from the fantasy, because moving on is not an emotion. It's a decision that is made in grief. You don't move on because you feel strong. You move on because staying is rotting you on the inside. That's what it's doing. Let them leave so you can finally hear yourself think. Let them leave so your nervous system can breathe again. Let them leave so your prayers stop sounding desperate and start sounding honest again, right? Some of you are confusing patience with disobedience. You know what I'm talking about. Stop playing with me. Some of you are calling it faith when it's actually just fear of starting over. Some of you are waiting for God to change them when God is trying to change you. Let's get real. I need you to listen to me very carefully right here. God will not wrestle what you insist on holding. He will wait until your hands are tired, very tired. There's a verse that people skip over because it's too clean, it's too cliche, it's too quiet. And it goes like this. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and save those who are crushed in spirit. I know you heard it. That's Psalms 34 verses 18. I say it all the time. Not the pretending to be strong, not the posting through the pain, the crushed. And that's you right now. That's you right now. And I know it because I was there. And being crushed does not mean that you failed. It means that you finally stopped lying to yourself. Letting them leave does not mean that you erase them. It means that you stop sacrificing yourself to keep a memory alive. That's what that means. It means that you accept that love doesn't have to be loud to be real, but it also doesn't have to hurt to be holy. This is the moment where you stop asking, why wasn't I enough? And you start asking, why did I think that I had to be more than myself to be loved? Why? This is the moment where you stop begging for signs and you start obeying that ache in your chest, right? This is that moment. So if your chest feels heavy right now, if this feels like a goodbye, right? If this feels like a goodbye that you don't want to say, if part of you is screaming, don't let go, that is okay. It is perfectly normal, but let go anyway. Let go anyway, not because it's easy, but because God does his best work when you stop interfering. Stop interfering with God. Let him do it. Let them leave and let yourself live again. You got this. And I know that it's hard. You can't do it alone, despite of what you think. I know it's hard. You have to ask God for help. You're bleeding right now. It's hurting. It's probably going to be one of the most hardest things that you ever had to do. But guess what? You can do it. You can do it. You can do it. You got your part, and God gonna do his part. You better believe that. God gonna do his part, but are you gonna do your part? You need help. I'm yapping. Let him help you. Peace.
Help me, God. I'm losing my mind. Help me, God. I'm running out of time. Help me, God. Help me. I don't know who else to call. Help me, God. Help me. I'm standing at the edge of my fall. If this pain has a purpose, I can't see it yet, but I trust you more than the breath I get.